Black magic.
You got to know, got to show, it's time to roll. So just tell me what you want to hear. Tell me what you want, so just tell me what you want to hear.
Alright, so Ryan Fleming here from Ratchy Radio, here with cosplayer cutie herself, Rainer. Great way for us to start off our interview about females in pop culture and how they're treated.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Don't do that, kids. Don't do it.
Don't.
No, it's not. When it comes to females in pop culture, it seems to be a bit of, there seems to be a lot of issues, actually.
Still.
Yeah, and do you see it getting better at this point, or?
I think we're going to need another generation of pretty much equal rights fighters to basically, until maybe it kind of goes away, but 2015, we're still fighting for equal. To me, that's kind of sad for, billions of years of evolution that we're still at this point that, we're still having to struggle,
right.
Basically.
And it's so got to be hard too, because the natural counter argument's always going to be, well, there's Wonder Woman, there's Captain Marvel, there's Xena, Buffy, whatever, where you have these strong female roles. Are we at the point where it's just still not enough yet, or is it changing at all? Do you see?
I think it's not even so much in superhero mode, but you look at shows that are actually more subtle. I'm actually going to bring up Modern Family, where you have working mothers
right.
who support the family while, a lot of the dads are off doing goofy things, but the mother is always the rock of
right.
of the family, and it's like people don't really see that.
And it's almost that way in real life as well.
It is,
though, you know?
there's always there's a foundation, and a lot of times it is the mother or the woman of the family, but it kind of gets passed over because people see it as a traditional role, oh, well, she's a homemaker, she's in the kitchen. Yeah, but she's holding the fort down,
right.
And
a lot of times, especially from the 80s on, a lot of the women were at home taking care of the family and still working on top of that.
Yep.
Having to be a working mom, and then the dad would come home and not do anything, right?
Yeah.
And where's my beer?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Supper ready? Well,
yeah, which is a little rough, but I do think when we see shows like Modern Family, like you mentioned, and just the way that the world's been going lately, it seems that it, at least from my point of view, and it's hard for me to say because I'm not in your shoes, so you can't see how it is, but it does seem like it is changing for the better, slowly.
It I will say that it is much slower than, or a little quicker than it used to be. I mean, look at how far we've come from the 70s, and I find that a lot of women have more rights, but we're still fighting for things that need to be changed, and I think that's where, like I said, the next generation comes in, where it's like I said, cosplay is not consent. You should be raising your children, and I'm not pointing a finger at a specific gender. You should be raising your children that you can't run up and touch people inappropriately or in any way without their consent. So I mean, when that sign up at Fan Expo, cosplay is not consent, don't put your hands on people without asking, that should be instilled as children, because I've seen a lot of adults who just were grabbing butts and stuff like that of women, and it's like that's the kind of behavior that needs to stop. And
it's not even so much that this should be common sense at this point.
It should be,
and not even at this point. That should always just be common sense.
Yeah, someone's gonna turn around and get punched in the face one day, and I'm surprised it did happen in San Diego Comic-Con when someone who was dressed as Catwoman, I want to say it was Adrienne Curry, someone groped her friend and she kicked his butt. Yeah,
she posted on her page about that too.
Yeah.
I missed the whole incident, what happened. I just saw her rant afterwards.
Yeah. I read about that and I was like, good for her, and that kind of stuff shouldn't be happening. But again, I think that's something for another.
Her, no matter how crazy she actually is.
That's why I think it's another generation kind of thing that now values are going to have to be instilled at a much younger age where,
Right.
you know, like I said, I'm not pointing a finger at any gender, that no one is allowed to touch anybody. You know, like little girls shouldn't go running up to a Superman cosplayer and, you know, be like, it's, and vice versa. Like, it's not consent.
Right.
Dressing up is not consent.
But if I'm not dressed up, you can touch my butt.
You have that on video.
That's consent. That just goes for the ladies, I'm just saying. This is the worst interview for trying to promote women's rights.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, let's get back into that. When it comes to females in pop culture, do you have a favorite?
I've always looked up to stronger females, Rogue being one of them. April O'Neil. Oh,
Really? Yeah.
I went as Halloween twice as April O'Neil, and I made my own little turtle speaker.
Nice.
And
Do you wear the yellow jumpsuit?
oh yeah, my mom made mine. Yeah, I had the yellow jumpsuit, and she was one of my first ones that I remember, like Lydia, because she always liked going on adventures, but she was more of a younger character. But like April O'Neil and Rogue were adults, and they didn't need any help. They were perfectly capable of taking care of themselves and doing their own thing and having their own career, and I always thought that was amazing, you know. And because I kind of look at things like Jean Grey, and I'm sorry if you're a fan of Jean Grey, but I found that she was too dependent on Cyclops or Wolverine or Professor X, and that's not what I wanted, whereas Rogue had no problem with being alone.
Which is weird with Jean Grey, too, when you figure, especially power set-wise, she's probably the most powerful X-Men there is, and one of the most powerful Marvel characters of all time. She's a world devourer, so she's Galacticus level when she goes Dark Phoenix. So.
Exactly, but as Jean Grey, that's not the type of person that I was at the time and still am not. So it was really hard to connect with that with someone of that personality on that level, whereas there was Rogue and there was Storm, and they just they were perfectly capable of just kicking butt and taking names and not worrying about what men thought, and I'm not pretty enough to have a boyfriend. It was like, get out of here, swamp rat. Like,
well, yeah.
You know?
And Storm was a goddess.
Exactly.
You know, well, she was lauded as a goddess by her people. Right?
Exactly.
So, and she's always had that regalness to her. Now, do you find there to be a difference between a woman who's strong and independent, or a woman who says she's a strong bitch? Because that seems to be a saying nowadays, you know, where women like, oh, I'm a bitch and I'm proud. To me, I think there's a difference between being a strong woman and...
You don't have to always feel like you need to prove yourself.
Right.
Like, I'm all about giving or taking out what you want to receive back. I'm not going to walk out like, no one talk to me, nah. Like, that to me is someone...
Right.
Like,
with a short haircut. Sorry.
I want to speak to your manager?
Yes.
No, like there's some people who feel the need to prove something. It's like, just live your life. You don't have to be mean to someone for any reason. I mean, if someone's harassing you, okay, sure. You know, like I was catcalled while I was walking to the Stick Kids as Rogue. I didn't appreciate that.
Right.
But I also didn't get out of my car like, if anyone catcalls me, I'm going to kick their butt. Like, I just got out of my car and went and did my thing. I got catcalled. I didn't appreciate it. I wasn't looking for a compliment in any way. But I also, again, I don't go out seeking challenges. And I don't go out, like, just feeling
just
like...
because you're in cosplay doesn't give people free reign to...
No.
You know, yeah, no pun intended, but... that doesn't give them free reign to just... catcall,
no, it
touch,
doesn't,
or anything like that.
Or even just like a couple months ago, I was just walking down the street at home, and some guys whistled at me. I'm like, I'm wearing a tank top and capris. What? But again, like, I don't go out like hating people, and you know, like, I'm not opposed to. Like, I have friends who would be happy being, you know, stay-at-home moms and housewives. Cool. That's cool. You don't have to. You don't have to be a working mom if you don't have to. You don't have to be single and fighting the good fight. I mean, just live your life if it makes you happy.
Every individual, as I like to say, are like, well, as everyone says, they're like snowflakes. There's no two people that are the same. Yeah. There's a reason why Baskin-Robbins has 31 flavors. Not everybody likes vanilla or chocolate. And you never keep secrets from Baskin-Robbins. Baskin Robbins always finds out.
I want Baskin Robbins.
That's my Ant-Man reference. So what makes a strong female in your mind? And I don't mean pop culture wise. I just mean everyday life. What makes a strong woman?
I think that anybody is strong in their own sense. I mean, you could be rebuilding your life after, domestic violence and, being a single mom, or just rebuilding your life just if you were a victim, not with kids. And that to me is strong because you got away and now you're rebuilding your life as new. Anyone, I guess, who's not afraid. I mean, we all get scared. I mean, I moved away and I was terrified, but I still made a life for myself. It's accepting a challenge and going with it.
Yeah, meeting it head on.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, some people will look at stay-at-home moms as, oh, well, you're not very strong. Like, you kidding me? You kidding me? Raising a family is not easy. That to me is a strong woman.
I'm a single dad, and that's one of the hardest things I ever have to do is raising my own kids.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I mean,
I can barely raise myself.
Yeah. I am the worst adult ever. I still dress up, okay? Yeah. But I think anyone that will meet a challenge and rise against it in any way. Like I said, moving to a new town by yourself, if instead of after you've gotten over the fear and you rise above it, that to me makes someone strong. Mm-hmm. And anyone can do that. It's how you step over that rock.
Getting over the fear or getting over that little hump there, whatever obstacles in your way. Yeah. I like that. Now we see pop culture characters like Wonder Woman, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Xena. They seem to have had a really positive effect on women in pop culture and just women in general becoming a little more accepted and more in the forefront. Would you agree with that? Do you think there's, because we already talked, there's more that needs to be done, but is it good that we have to, not that we have to, but it's fictional characters that we look to for that change? I know with the upcoming election, we might have Hillary Clinton actually get elected as the first female president. I'm sure that would go a long way as well. Mm-hmm.
I look at Barack Obama.
Well, it depends on how you look at that. Some say race relations got a little worse after him.
If anything, yeah, and same thing might happen with Hillary Clinton because unfortunately you have a lot of conservative states. Unfortunately, again, we haven't quite moved as far as people think we should by 2015. Right. We have made progress, but unfortunately there are people that don't feel the same way. I think that having shows like Buffy or characters like Buffy, even in Firefly, all those women were very strong. Yeah,
River, Tam.
Yeah, River. Yeah, they were all strong women, and I think that it was a quote that Josh Whedon said, and someone asked him why he always picks strong female characters. And he said something about they shouldn't be regarded as science fiction. Yeah. But that's where you see it. You see it in a lot of fictional characters. And I think that, my generation, we needed that growing up because I came after a generation of, born in 83, the 70s is when, the Equal Rights Amendment started, basically.
Burning the bras.
Exactly.
You got it, sister.
Exactly. And going forward, but the generation before that was very housewife, and
they were proud of it,
and that's fine, because again they were holding down the fort. But to have fictional characters when I was growing up, like Buffy, Wonder Woman, the X-Men, even April O'Neil, Lydia, all of that to me was important because we needed that to mold another generation of young women.
Oh, even Scully.
The
X-Files.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
One of the first ones of the 90s, at least, that brought women to the forefront. Yeah. As we're talking about all these strong female characters in the real world and in pop culture, there's still a need for a strong female character in pop culture, especially comics and things of that nature. What do you see? What do we need to move that further? How do we get more female characters in the forefront? Is it just as simple as just creating them and putting them out there? Because they've tried that and it doesn't always seem to work.
I think if you have an idea, the internet is so vast now, you can start your own website. If you have an idea for any of this, it doesn't hurt to try. You have an idea, put it to pencil. If you have a digital, whatever those, like the graphics designers use, write a story. Even if only 5 people read it, I'm sure those 5 people will share it and it will grow.
Yeah.
It's really tough to answer that because, it's just a matter of creating it. And
so what problems do you see then for female characters becoming more prevalent then? Like, because there's obviously hurdles that we come across, or we'd have more of them there.
That some people don't see the strong, because a lot of them are very attractive. Mm-hmm. That some people will just be like, oh damn, she's fine. It's like you're missing the point of her being, of her character. Mm-hmm. Like, unfortunately, there's always going to be people who can't look past a physical appearance and appreciate the person that's behind it. So I guess until people... I
hear you there.
It's great to admire or find something attractive. That's cool. But if you're not going to move past that and see what kind of person they are, then that's the thing that's stopping a lot of people. Like, just like, you look at Captain America. The guy he fights for his country. He's so patriotic and he's so noble. And then you see Chris Evans and it's like, oh, he's so dreamy. And he is.
He is. Yeah, I don't care.
But a lot of people stop right there and they say, "Oh, Captain America, he's so sexy," but they don't. Some people don't move past and see how noble he is and how chivalrous he is, and he's very old-fashioned because obviously of what happened. But some people stop, and we need to stop stopping.
Yeah.
And
so if I could, I don't know, paraphrase this a little bit better for you. Is it it's more of like the old adage of can't judge a book by its cover?
Exactly.
Too many people are just judging by the looks.
Or just saying, wow, she's hot, or wow, he's hot.
So
and it's like,
is the answer making an unattractive female lead?
But that's where you lose too, because sex will always sell.
Like, yeah, well.
But you'll always see like more attractive comic book characters, cartoon characters, or just movie adaptations. They're always attractive people. So
except for Ellen Page.
I like Ellen Page.
Oh, I do too. It's not very attractive.
But you'll always...
Sorry, Ellen. You're gorgeous if you ever want to be on the show. Right.
Terrible. But yeah, that's the losing part, is we can't necessarily make them unattractive, because who's going to buy a comic that's like average daily girl and her average daily life of fighting for independence and being like, no one's going to read that.
Yeah, well,
maybe
you
a few
got stuff
people
like
will.
Scott Pilgrim and stuff like that, where
he's an average kid, but I think it's the adventure
even
that
Ramona
happens.
though wasn't. She was great for Scott.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Still, if you were going to put someone who's not so attractive out on the front cover, it's not going to sell as much as
True enough.
Like Elektra on the cover or something,
So if I put Brie Allison on the cover, I'm okay. But if I put Kathy Bates, not so much.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Just to finish up, what would you like to see moving forward? Does it come to a point? This is where I always wonder. Are women looking for equality with men in pop culture, or are you looking to surpass?
No, I'm all about equality.
Yeah.
I don't think one gender is better than the other. They've done studies where which like male or female has better pain tolerance, and they've had females quit about some things, or they had an equal amount of male and female. So to me, it's
childbirth. You guys have it.
Yeah, that's fine.
You guys have it.
But there's some things that I think we need to be treated equally as a species, whether black, white, no matter what our race, no matter what our orientation, gender. We're all freaking humans. Why is there such a big war about any of this. I mean, you go to certain parts of the world and racism is still such a huge issue. You go to Russia and you are thrown in jail if you're gay.
Yeah.
Why is this still happening? Like, we need to start treating each other as the human race that we are, and to stop looking for physical differences to set us apart. We're never going to move forward if we keep doing this. Same with women. Like, the whole real women have curves. No. I know women who are like 5 foot nothing and itty bitty little things.
Yeah.
They're still women.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it has nothing to do with your shape or size.
Okay. So I'm sitting here with Rainer as we were discussing the female role in pop culture, or how it is. And got some great points there and some great insight from you. And I like that. One, thank you for coming on the show today, and two, for doing this interview as well. I think it's really important for us to get every side of the story here, the female's perspective, the male perspective, on how we can bring women more to the forefront and become an equal with us when it comes to pop culture and just in everyday life.
Yeah.
But with that, I just want to say thanks so much for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me.
Where can people find you?
On Facebook at Raine of Fire Cosplay. Same with Instagram, Raine of Fire Cosplay with underscores under everything. And same with my Twitter, Raine of Fire Cosplay.
So you've been watching a special Rat G interview here, and I hope you like it, and there'll be more to come soon. Thanks a lot, folks.
Yeah. Black magic.
You got to know, got to show, it's time to roll. So just tell me what you wanna hear.